what are your sort of 5 things or 5 to SEO go-tos that people can fix on their blogs when they come to you and say, hey, Faith, I'm looking to ramp this thing up and get more traffic? What are the most common things that you give them, like things that they can do that are low-hanging fruit they could do, in a short period of time?
Yeah, for sure. So, honestly, the first thing is not even an SEO thing, because in my brain, like, you can have all the people in the whole wide world coming to your website, but if they hate it when they get there, or it's unclear when they get there, like, it doesn't make any difference. The number one thing that I always tell people, I just coached a client today, is to improve the above the fold copy. Because we have less than 5 seconds to catch somebody's attention and let them know, can we help them with their number one problem, and are we clear? And sometimes I feel like, because we're in the industry and we know what we're doing, we know the things, we know what we think people need, right? We're way up here and they're like down here, like, just get me this quick win. Sometimes we get a little bit highfalutin in our language and use fluffy language in our above the fold, like, change your life, feel better. Like, no, like, help me lose 10 pounds, like, whatever that thing is that you do. And so I really feel like if you can do nothing else but improve the above the fold copy and be abundantly clear, straight and to the point, then you're going to get people's attention, because they're going to know right away whether you can fix their problem or not. Because if people come to your website, they need to know if you're for them or not. So that's the number one thing, the very first thing that I think somebody should do. And then the second thing is, I'm going to get into SEO stuff, is to put keywords, the right keywords, in your H1 text on each page of your site. Because so many sites that I go to and so many client sites, I look at the headings map and I'm like, there's nothing anywhere. Like, Google has no idea what's going on here, because it's like, there's what keywords? You just have a picture of yourself and say, have a nice life. Like, that's all Google sees when they're scanning these websites. And so, just including the right keywords and the right keyword sizes for your business in H1 text on every page is going to be phenomenal for your SEO tips, improving that. Yeah. So those are the top 2. I've got more, but you look like you have a question.
Yeah, I do. I love how intuitive you are, just picking up on this. I want to break down those 2 things. They don't have to be too rigorously, but when you say above the fold text, you're talking, am I clear and on this, that you're talking about on the homepage above the fold text? It's not just, and when you mean straight to the, like, when you say not too fluffy language, do you mean work out what your audience actually wants and just have that as your tagline or your quote or what your site's about above the fold? Is that what you're talking
Yep.
about?
And honestly, I coach clients to really focus on the above the fold text on every main page on their site, like their services or their about page and all of that. But just
category pages?
Pardon?
Category pages? Hub pages?
Maybe. It just depends on how much time they have, and how much effort. But when I say, so have you read Donald Miller's book, Building a Story Brand?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. So good.
I do know a lot about stories and for branding, though.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite books ever, as far as business books. But I mean, he just goes into so much more of the science behind the above the fold text and how he calls it the caveman test. Like, the above the fold text on your page needs to pass the caveman test. Like, just stupid simple. Some of the best above the fold phrasing that I've worked with clients is like, we get to, I mean, it's what I spend the most time with on copywriting clients, but it's like I probably have to come up with 20 iterations of that above the fold phrase to really feel like it's something that hits home and speaks abundantly clear. But when you really nail it, it's going to be something that you're like, this is so stupid simple. Like, those are the best, because it's not going to it doesn't take brain power for somebody to understand.
Yeah. Do you ever have your clients do a quiz or a collect data from, their audience to ask them what their goal is, what they want, what they don't want, and then get a few keywords that are most prominent, most people's answer, and then use like 2 to 3 or 4 of those and use that in the above the fold text? This is what I've done. This is what we do. Is like this is the copywriting thing, right? It's like get people to fill out a form or do a quiz, and they can get a prize, or you can give them a free training or something like that for filling it out. And then you work out what they actually want, and then you can share with them, like, and you can also adapt your products and your services to give them exactly what they want and need as well. Is that a thing that you feel is a good thing for people to do when they're first starting out, or is it just too much overwhelm at the start?
I mean, it all depends on the person, right? And their bandwidth, because some people are overwhelmed with, too many different colors, and other people are like, let me jump in full force, go big or go home. Obviously, like market research is something that is just, like so just priceless for growing a business. But I also I always want to distinguish, I call them verbiage keywords versus typed keywords. Because sometimes the words that are coming out of people's mouth that they will identify with and that are really going to tug at their heartstrings for that purchase, they're different very often than the keywords that they're typing in that are going to influence our SEO strategy.
Gotcha.
But as business owners, we have to integrate, both the SEO aspect of things and the fact that we're dealing with human beings and we're serving human beings. So we need to create content that's human focused, like people focused first, and then optimize for SEO. So I actually I have 2 categories of keywords in my brain for my business and for my clients.
I love it. You've just opened a can of worms with the optimizing content for humans first versus SEO. Have you seen much about what's happening with the AI sort of different content creation tools and, the GPT sort of stuff? Do you know much about that?
Just kind of on the back burner, but so I like writing. I enjoy writing. So for me to just think about outsourcing that to a computer, I'm like, that's dumb. I did play around with it a tiny bit in Ubersuggest because they have a new AI content writing tool. And I had a client that was asking about it. And she's like, is this any good? So I just played around with it. And I'm like, meh. But to me, that's going to create really generic content. And that's not going to connect with people, right? People connect with people. And the clients that I've had, they're like, we love you because you talk about dogs and poop and the stupid things that you did. And I'm like, no computer is going to write that for me.
Yeah. It's more humanized and personalized and more, this is a part when you talk about story branding is you can weave that into, you weave your story into the value, not just an AI going, these are the things that you need to know to build this, or to do this, or because the reason I ask this is because we get a lot of in our community paid membership, people are asking what's going to happen in a couple of years when everything's just AI content and Google's going to rank that. And my take is that Google wants users to be happy. And that's what they optimize their algorithm for, is for human beings, not for SEO, not the other way around. And I think too many people get caught up in the technical thing of SEO and it needs to have this, 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 and this, and this. And all of that science weeds out the art form of it and the beauty that humans actually want, but we don't realize we want it. We just want to read something great. If people on Google are only going to get AI content and it's just pretty bland and there's no humanness to it, then Google's going to have less people searching, which Google's has less ad revenue and less of their business goes down the drain. So that's the thing that I like to speak to, is that a lot of people may be worried about all these things are going to take over. But if Google optimizes for humans and they only exist because humans exist and have things to type in and search, and humans go, well, this AI content sucks and it's not humanized, we're not going to search it anymore, then Google has no business. So they're not going to rank the AI content as well as the human content. Do you feel that's a thing?
Well, and we might see the pendulum swing the other way for a month. If there was a way to track AI content gets seen versus human content globally, maybe we see the pendulum swing the other way for a month, and then people will stop clicking on those websites with AI content. Because I mean, I know I've clicked on some that I'm not maybe AI content, but content that was written clearly just for SEO. And then you click it and you're like, this does not even answer my question. This was the biggest waste of 5 minutes of my life. And I never go back to that website again. Versus I would rather create content and have my clients create content that, so what, it ranks 7th or 8th or 10th, but somebody's going to come back to it again and again and again because you answered their question and you served the person on the other side of that screen.
Yeah, I love it.